When you reach 70, a question starts to creep into your mind more often than ever before. How long do I really have left? It is not just a curiosity. It is a deep, nagging thought that sits in the quiet moments of your day. You look at your hands and see the veins a little more pronounced. You feel the stiffness in your knees when you stand up. You notice how friends are passing away, one by one. And then you ask yourself, am I next? It is a terrifying question because no one wants to leave this world before their time. But what if I told you there is a simple test that can give you a clue? A test that does not require a doctor or a machine. Just you and a small challenge. I was 72 when I first heard about this test. A younger fellow, a doctor, told me about it with a kind smile. He said, "Try this and see where you stand." At first, I thought he was joking, but when I tried it, my heart pounded in a way I had not felt in years. It was a wake-up call. The test is simple. Can you sit down on the floor and get back up without using your hands, knees, or any other support? That is it. Sounds easy, right? But do not be fooled. The first time I tried, I struggled. My legs wobbled. I felt the urge to push off with my hands. And when I finally got up, I was out of breath. The doctor nodded knowingly and said, "Your score can predict your risk of death in the next few years." I laughed nervously, but deep down, I knew there was truth in it. This test, known as the sit-to-stand test, measures something far more important than just strength. It measures your mobility, balance, and overall vitality. And here is the harsh truth. If you struggle with this test, it is a sign that your body is losing its resilience. That resilience is what keeps you alive. I remember an old friend of mine, Tom. He was 75, strong as an ox in his younger days, but he ignored the little signs. He said, "These knees have seen better days. No big deal." But I watched him go from walking upright to using a cane, then to struggling with simple movements. Then one day, he slipped in his kitchen. He never fully recovered. Within a year, he was gone. That is the cruel reality of aging. It does not happen all at once. It sneaks up on you, and if you do not fight back, it wins. The sit-to-stand test is not just a number or a game. It is a warning. If you struggle with it, your body is telling you something important. It is saying, you are losing your independence. You are losing your ability to survive small accidents that would not have hurt you before. It is saying, you need to act now. Because here is the truth no one likes to hear. Once you lose mobility, your health declines rapidly. The moment you stop moving, your body starts shutting down. But here is the good news. You can fight back. When I failed that test, I did not sit back and accept my fate. I made a choice. I started working on my strength. I began with simple movements, standing up from a chair without using my hands, then sitting down and standing up again, over and over. My legs ached, but I kept going. I practiced balancing on one foot. I walked a little more each day, and after a few months, I tried the test again. This time, I did it with ease. That was 5 years ago. I am 77 now, and I feel stronger than I did at 72. Most people think aging is just about getting older. They think it is out of their control, but that is a lie. Aging is about how much you fight for your body. It is about how much you refuse to let weakness take over. I have seen too many people give up. They say, "I am old, what can I do?" But they do not realize that weakness is not just a symptom of aging, it is a result of neglect. When you stop challenging your body, it starts to give up on you. I remember my father. He lived to be 94. And do you know what his secret was? He never stopped moving. Even at 90, he would bend down to tie his own shoes. He would get up from the floor without thinking twice. He would say, "Son, the moment you stop moving is the moment you start dying." I did not understand it then, but now I do. I see it every day. The ones who stay active, who keep pushing themselves just a little, are the ones who live longer. Not just longer, but better. If you are over 70, I want you to try this test. Sit down on the floor and stand back up without using your hands or knees. If you can do it easily, that is fantastic. Keep moving, keep challenging yourself. If you struggle, do not panic, but take it as a sign that you need to start working on your strength today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Start small. Stand up from a chair without using your hands. Do it 10 times every morning. Balance on one foot for a few seconds. Walk a little more than you did yesterday, because every small effort adds up. Every little movement is a step toward a longer, stronger life. I know what some of you are thinking. What if I am too weak? What if I cannot do it? Let me tell you something. I have seen people in their 80s regain strength they thought was gone forever. I have seen people who could barely stand build themselves up step by step. It is never too late. But you have to start. You have to fight for your own life. No one else can do it for you. I am not telling you this to scare you. I am telling you this because I care. Because I know what it feels like to watch time slip away and wonder how much you have left. But here is the truth. You have more control than you think. Your body is waiting for you to make a choice. To sit back and let time take its course. Or to stand up, quite literally, and fight for every extra year. When I pass away, I do not want it to be because I let my body waste away. I want to go out strong, knowing I did everything I could to stay independent, to keep moving, to live fully. And I want the same for you. So take the test. See where you stand. And if you struggle, do not accept it. Change it. Because the difference between a long, vibrant life and a short, fragile one is not luck. It is effort. It is choice. It is action. And you still have time to make the right one. Now, let's clear some common questions. What habits separate those who thrive after 70 from those who decline? I have lived long enough to see two kinds of people after 70. The ones who keep moving forward, full of life, and the ones who start fading away. It is not luck. It is not just genetics. It is habits. Small choices made every day that either build you up or break you down. I have watched friends thrive well into their 80s and 90s, still walking with confidence, still laughing loudly, still living fully. And I have seen others who, the moment they hit 70, seem to shrink. They stop doing the things they love. They move less. They talk less. They disappear into their chairs. And before long, they are just waiting for time to take them. The difference between these two paths is not as complicated as people think. The ones who thrive do not stop moving. This is the biggest truth I have learned. The moment you stop using your body starts shutting down. I knew a man named Charlie. He was 75 when I met him, still hiking up hills, still getting on the floor to play with his grandkids. I asked him once, "How do you keep going like this?" He laughed and said, "Because I never stopped." That is it. He never stopped. He never told himself he was too old to take the stairs. He never avoided bending down because it felt uncomfortable. He never let stiffness settle in without pushing back. The ones who decline are the ones who give in to the little discomforts. They say, "My knees hurt, so I will rest. My back aches, so I will sit more." But the more you rest, the weaker you get. The more you sit, the harder it becomes to stand. The ones who thrive are the ones who challenge their minds every day. I have an old friend named George, who is 83 and still learning new things. He picks up new hobbies, reads books that make him think, and even taught himself how to use a smartphone when most of our generation gave up on those things. The brain is like a muscle. If you stop using it, it weakens. The ones who decline are the ones who let their world shrink. They stop learning. They watch the same shows every day. They talk about the past more than the present. They stop being curious, and slowly, their minds become dull. I have seen it happen, and it is heartbreaking. The ones who thrive have a purpose. This is something most people do not talk about. After 70, you need something to wake up for, something that makes you excited to live another day. I have seen too many people retire and then lose themselves. Their job was their purpose, and when it was gone, they felt useless. The ones who thrive find new purpose. They volunteer, they help their family, they take up a hobby that excites them. I know a woman named Margaret who started painting at 72. She never painted a day in her life before that, but now, at 80, she sells her artwork at local markets. She has a reason to get up in the morning. The ones who decline are the ones who feel they have nothing left to do. They say, "I am old. What is the point?" And once you believe you have no purpose, your body starts believing it too. The ones who thrive take care of what they put into their bodies. Now, I am not saying you need to eat like a rabbit or count every calorie. But the truth is, what you eat after 70 matters more than ever. I have seen people who eat processed junk every day, and their bodies start falling apart. They feel tired all the time. Their joints ache. Their energy disappears. The ones who thrive eat foods that keep them strong. They eat real food, vegetables, fruits, lean meats, good fats. They drink water instead of soda. They do not drown themselves in sugar. It is not about dieting. It is about fueling your body so it keeps running. I knew a man who drank soda every day and ate nothing but processed food. By 78, he could barely walk. His body was inflamed, his joints swollen. He said, "I wish I had taken better care of myself." The ones who thrive build strong relationships. Loneliness is a killer, worse than most people realize. I have watched people who had plenty of friends in their younger years become isolated after 70. Their friends move away. Their children get busy. They stop making the effort to connect. And little by little, they withdraw from life. The ones who thrive keep their social circles alive. They reach out. They make new friends. They stay involved in their communities. I know a man named Frank who, at 80, still hosts poker nights every week. He says, "As long as I have friends to laugh with, I will keep going." And he is right. Laughter, connection, human interaction. These things keep you alive. The ones who decline are the ones who let loneliness settle in and do nothing about it. The ones who thrive accept aging but do not surrender to it. There is a difference. Accepting aging means understanding that your body is changing, that you might need to adjust, but it does not mean giving up. Surrendering is when you start saying, "I am too old for that. I cannot do that anymore." The moment you start saying those words, they become true. I have seen people who refuse to let age define them. They keep living as fully as they can, no matter how many candles are on their cake. And I have seen people who decide that 70 is the end of their best years, and sure enough, it becomes true for them. The ones who thrive are the ones who stay grateful. This is something I have learned after many years. If you wake up every morning thinking about what you have lost, what hurts, what is wrong, you will carry that heaviness with you all day. But if you wake up and say, I am still here, I still have time, I still have things to enjoy, then you live with a different energy. I knew a woman named Helen who had arthritis so bad her hands curled up, but she still found reasons to smile every day. She would say, "My hands may not work the way they used to, but my heart still does." The ones who decline are the ones who focus only on what they have lost, instead of what they still have. I have seen it all. I have watched some people grow stronger with age, while others fade away. And every time it comes down to these simple choices. Keep moving. Keep learning. Find a purpose. Eat well. Stay connected. Refuse to give in. And most of all, stay grateful for the time you have. Because the difference between thriving and declining is not something that happens overnight. It is the result of every small habit, every small choice, every single day. You still have time to make the right ones. Can mental attitude and determination actually help extend my life? I have lived long enough to see something most people do not believe until it is too late. The mind is more powerful than the body, more powerful than medicine, more powerful than any treatment or diet plan. I have seen people in their 70s and 80s who should have been gone long ago according to their doctors. But they refused to give in. They had a fire inside them, a determination to keep living. And because of that, they did. I have also seen people who were perfectly healthy, but convinced themselves they were getting old and weak. They started moving less, started complaining more, started expecting the worst. And before long, their bodies followed their minds. The truth is, how you think about aging determines how you experience it. I knew a man named Walter. At 76, he was diagnosed with a serious illness. The doctors told him to take it easy, to prepare for the worst. But Walter was a stubborn man. He looked the doctor in the eye and said, "That is not how my story ends." He kept walking every day, kept cracking jokes, kept planning trips with his wife. He refused to let the illness define him. 10 years later, he was still here. The doctors could not explain it, but I could. His mind kept him going. I have learned that the moment you decide you are too old to do something, your body starts agreeing with you. I knew a woman named Martha who used to dance. It was her joy. But when she turned 70, she said, "I am too old for that now." Within a few years, her body stiffened. Her energy faded. It was not because she had to stop. It was because she believed she had to. The ones who keep going are the ones who never tell themselves they are too old. They may move slower. They may have to adjust, but they never stop. I have seen determination pull people through situations that should have broken them. I had a friend named Joe who fell and broke his hip at 81. The doctors said it would take a long time to recover. That many people his age never fully do. But Joe was not the kind of man to accept defeat. The day after his surgery, he told the nurses, "Get me up." They thought he was joking. He was not. He pushed himself every day, did his therapy even when it hurt, refused to use a wheelchair longer than he had to. Within months, he was walking again without help. People called it a miracle. It was not. It was sheer willpower. I have noticed something about the people who live the longest. They are not just lucky. They are fighters. They do not give up when life gets hard. They do not sit around waiting to die. They have a reason to get up every morning. I knew a man named Frank who lost his wife after 60 years of marriage. Anyone could have understood if he had let grief take him. But he did not. He said, "She would not want me to waste whatever time I have left." He started volunteering, helping younger men who had no father figures. He lived another 15 years, still sharp, still strong, still living. Some people think attitude does not change anything, that once you start aging, there is nothing you can do. I know better. I have watched people make themselves old before their time just by the way they think. They expect to slow down, so they do. They expect to get weaker, so they do. They expect to feel worse, so they do. But I have also seen the opposite. People who refuse to accept limits just because of their age, who decide they will keep moving, keep laughing, keep learning no matter what. And they do. I remember my grandfather. He lived to be 95. People would ask him, "What is your secret?" He would just smile and say, "I never stopped living. That is it." He never let himself feel useless. He never let himself sink into hopelessness. Even when he had aches and pains, even when he lost friends and family, he found something to look forward to every single day. That is what kept him alive. I once knew a man who had everything going for him physically. No major health issues, strong genes, but he was always negative, always worrying about what could go wrong, always expecting the worst. And slowly, his body followed his mind. He moved less. His energy faded. His health declined. He lived far fewer years than he should have, because he let fear and negativity take over. I have learned that a strong mind can carry a weak body, but a weak mind will destroy a strong body. I have seen people outlive their diagnoses because they refuse to accept them, and I have seen people deteriorate simply because they believed they were supposed to. The mind is the most powerful tool we have, and too many people let theirs work against them instead of for them. I do not know how many years I have left, but I know one thing: I will not waste them. I will not sit around waiting for the end. I will get up every day with a purpose. I will find reasons to smile. I will keep moving even when it is hard, because I have seen what happens when people stop trying, and I refuse to be one of them. If you are wondering whether your attitude and determination can actually help extend your life, let me tell you what I have seen. I have seen people who should have been gone years ago, still walking, still laughing, still making plans. I have seen people whose bodies had every reason to fail them, but they refused to let go. I have seen people who were told their time was running out, and they proved everyone wrong. And I have seen the opposite. People who gave up before their bodies did, who lost hope and faded faster than they should have, who spent their days talking about how old they were until they became exactly what they expected. The difference between these two kinds of people is not luck. It is not magic. It is mindset. It is determination. It is waking up every morning and deciding to live instead of just waiting to die. So yes, mental attitude and determination can absolutely help extend your life. I have lived long enough to see it with my own eyes, and if you still have time left, no matter how much or how little, I hope you choose to use it well. I hope you choose to fight for every good day. I hope you choose to believe that your best moments are not just behind you, but still ahead. Because I promise you this: the moment you decide to keep living is the moment you start adding more life to your years. And sometimes, if you fight hard enough, you just might add more years to your life. What is the real difference between living long and truly living well after 70? I have lived long enough to understand something most people do not think about until it is too late. There is a big difference between simply living long and truly living well after 70. I have seen people reach 90, even 100, but their days are empty. They sit in a chair watching the world pass them by. They wake up, eat, stare at a screen, go to bed, and do the same thing the next day. They are alive, but they are not really living. Then there are the others, The ones who make it to 70, 80, even 90, and they are still full of life. They wake up with a purpose. They move their bodies. They stay curious. They laugh often. They do not just exist. They live. That is the real difference. I knew a man named Henry. He made it to 95. People used to tell him he was lucky to live so long. But if you looked closely, you could see he was not really living. He stopped doing the things he loved years before. He stopped taking care of himself. He spent his days sitting, complaining about old age, waiting for something to happen. He was breathing, but he was not alive. Then there was my friend Charlie. He only made it to 85, but I can tell you he truly lived every one of those years. He traveled. He kept learning. He stayed involved in his community. His body may not have lasted as long as Henry's, but his days were rich and full. That is the difference. After 70, life is not just about adding years to the clock. It is about making sure those years mean something. I have seen too many people afraid of aging. They cling to life, but they do not do anything with it. They stop trying new things. They stop challenging themselves. They stop seeing the beauty in everyday moments. And when you stop living with purpose, time does not feel like a gift anymore. It feels like a burden. That is why some people look tired and worn out at 75, while others are still glowing at 90. It is not about how much time you have. It is about how you use it. The ones who truly live well after 70 keep moving. I have seen it time and time again. If you stop using your body stops working for you. I knew a woman named Margaret who walked every morning, even when it was cold, even when she did not feel like it. She used to say, "If I can move today, I will. Because I do not know if I will get that chance tomorrow." And because she kept moving, her body stayed strong. Then I have seen others who, the moment they felt a little stiffness, decided to slow down. They thought resting would help, but all it did was make them weaker. And before long, they could barely move at all. The ones who live well after 70 keep learning. They do not let their world shrink. They read. They ask questions. They stay interested in what is happening around them. I had a friend named George who started learning Spanish in his 80s just because he wanted to challenge his brain. I knew another man who took up painting in his 70s and ended up selling his work at local markets. They understood something most people forget. Your brain needs exercise just like your body does. If you stop using it, it weakens. And when your mind weakens, life starts to feel small. The ones who truly live well after 70 have purpose. This is what keeps a person going. I have seen too many people retire and lose themselves. They had a purpose when they were working, when they were raising their families. But once those things were gone, they felt empty. The ones who stay full of life find new reasons to get up in the morning. They volunteer. They create. They give their time to something bigger than themselves. I knew a man who started mentoring young kids after he retired. He said, "As long as I can help someone, I still matter." That kind of mindset keeps a person alive in ways medicine never could. The ones who live well after 70 take care of their bodies, but they do not obsess over it. They eat food that makes them feel good. They do not drown themselves in sugar and processed junk. They drink water instead of soda. They enjoy a good meal, but they understand that food is fuel. I once knew a man who made it to 80 but spent the last 10 years of his life miserable because his diet had destroyed his body. He used to say, "If I had known what this would do to me, I would have made different choices." The ones who live well do not wait until it is too late to take care of themselves. The ones who truly live after 70 stay connected. They do not let themselves become lonely. I have seen loneliness destroy people faster than illness ever could. The ones who keep their relationships strong, who call their friends, who make the effort to be social, they are the ones who stay happy. I knew a woman named Helen who had a weekly game night with her friends until the day she passed, at 89. She said, "As long as I have people to laugh with, I am not old." The ones who let loneliness take over, who stop reaching out, who let their world shrink to just themselves, they are the ones who feel old long before their time. The ones who live well after 70 accept aging, but do not surrender to it. There is a difference. Accepting aging means understanding that your body will change, that you may not be able to do things the same way you used to, but it does not mean giving up. The moment you start saying, "I am too old for that," your body believes you. I have seen people who never let that thought enter their minds. They kept dancing, kept laughing, kept dreaming. And I have seen people who decided 70 was the end of their best years. And sure enough, it became true for them. I have learned that living long is not the goal. Living well is. I have seen people who lived to 100 but had no joy, no purpose, nothing to look forward to. And I have seen people who only made it to 80 but filled every day with meaning. If you are lucky enough to reach 70, you have a choice. You can let time pass you by, or you can make the most of it. You can sit back and wait for the end, or you can wake up every morning and say, "I still have time, and I will use it well." I do not know how many days I have left. None of us do, but I know this. I will not waste them. I will not sit around waiting for life to be over. I will keep moving, keep learning, keep laughing, because the difference between just living long and truly living well is in the choices we make every single day. It is not about counting the years. It is about making the years count. And if you have time left, no matter how much or how little, I hope you choose to truly live. Because that is the only thing that really matters in the end. If you liked today's discussion, don't forget to like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated with every video we release. And yes, don't forget to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments. Every comment is special to us. Your feedback helps us improve further. We'll continue to meet you in every new video on this channel. So, until next time, take care.